The American dream didn't just die yesterday. It was executed. In a single sentence, on a day meant for gratitude, the Statue of Liberty effectively just put up a closed sign. But if you think this is just about borders, or just about a tragic shooting in Washington, D.C., you are looking at the wrong map. This is not just an immigration policy. This is a demolition order for the global order, as we know it. Welcome to Libo News. It was Thanksgiving Day, 2025. While millions of Americans were carving turkeys and watching football, the 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump, was quietly carving up the American immigration system. On his social media platform, Truth Social, he dropped a hammer that has shattered diplomatic norms across the globe. The statement was short, brutal, and crystal clear. He declared a permanent halt to immigration from all third world countries. Notice the words. Not a pause. Not a vetting period. Not a temporary suspension. A permanent halt. He stated explicitly that this is to allow the American system to fully recover. This declaration comes less than 24 hours after the heartbreaking death of National Guardsman Sarah Beckstrom in Washington, D.C., allegedly at the hands of a 2021 Afghan evacuee. The anger in the country is real. The grief is palpable. But the policy response we are seeing is nuclear. We are talking about something called reverse migration. We are talking about deporting those who are not considered net assets to the economy. We are talking about stripping federal benefits. We are talking about denaturalization. The mainstream media is screaming racism. The supporters are screaming national security. But both sides are missing the giant, invisible elephant in the room. Why now? And more importantly, what actually happens when you unplug the engine of American growth? Let us strip away the noise and look at the mechanics of this decision. First, we have to talk about the language. Third world. This is a term from the Cold War. It originally meant countries that were not aligned with NATO and not aligned with the Soviet Union. In 2025, it is an obsolete term. It has no strict legal definition in international law. And that is exactly why it is being used. By using a term that is vague, the executive branch creates a power vacuum. Who gets to decide which country is third world and which one is not? The president does. This is not a static list of nations. This is a diplomatic weapon. Think about it. Today, a country like Vietnam, India, or the Philippines might be on the list. But tomorrow? If they sign a favorable trade deal with the US, if they agree to buy American natural gas, or if they lower their tariffs on American cars, suddenly they might be graduated out of the third world status. Trump has not just closed the border. He has turned immigration visas into the ultimate bargaining chip for trade wars. He is saying to the world, you want your citizens to have access to the American economy? Then you pay up. This is the art of the deal applied to human geography. But there is a second layer here, and it is the one that Wall Street is terrified to talk about. Mainstream economists are currently in a state of panic. They say this is economic suicide. And on paper, they are right. The US agricultural sector, the construction industry, the hospitality industry, and the caregiving sector run on the labor of the very people this ban targets. If you cut off the supply of low-cost labor permanently, basic economic theory says inflation should skyrocket. A $5 head of lettuce becomes a $20 luxury item. Construction projects halt. Hotels close floors because there is no one to clean the rooms. So, we have to ask a hard question. Is this administration stupid? Do they not have calculators? Or are they betting on something else entirely? Look at the timing. We are standing on the precipice of the widespread rollout of humanoid robotics and advanced AI automation. Silicon Valley has been whispering about this for years, but now the technology is ready. Tesla, Figure AI, and other robotics firms are ready to deploy. Perhaps this ban is a brutal, cold calculation. Perhaps the administration believes that the US economy is shifting away from human labor entirely. By banning third world labor, Trump might be forcing US corporations to stop relying on cheap humans and start investing in expensive American-made machines. It is an accelerationist move. He is forcing a technological singularity by choking off the alternative. It is not just America first. It is machines first. If this theory is true, then the inflation we are about to see is just the growing pains of a new, automated economy where the working class is replaced by silicon and steel. Now, let's pivot to the third angle. The one that keeps intelligence agencies awake at night. The brain drain paradox. For decades, the United States has maintained its superpower status not just by its military, but by being the world's magnet for talent. The smartest engineers from India, the best doctors from Nigeria, the brightest scientists from Vietnam. They all came here. They built Silicon Valley. They staffed the Mayo Clinic. They researched the vaccines. If you ban the third world, you are not just banning the poor. You are banning the Einsteins of the global south. You are shutting the door on the next Satya Nadella or the next Elon Musk. And here is the dangerous part. Where do they go? High-level talent does not just disappear. If they cannot come to New York or San Francisco, they will go elsewhere. China is watching this very closely. Europe is watching. Canada is watching. If the door to the US is welded shut, that massive pool of human capital flows to our competitors. We might be witnessing the moment the US voluntarily gives up its status as the world's innovation hub. In 10 years, when the next Google or the next Moderna is founded in Mumbai, Shanghai, or Lagos instead of California, historians will look back at Thanksgiving 2025 as the turning point. We also need to discuss the domestic fallout. The term reverse migration based on being a net asset. This is the most radical shift in the social contract since the Civil War. It commodifies citizenship. It implies that your right to be in America is transactional. If you contribute money, you stay. If you cost money, you go. This creates a psychological environment of a two-tier society. It introduces a constant state of audit for millions of people legally residing in the US. It is not just about the border anymore. It is about fear within the borders. And historically, fear is a powerful political tool. It keeps the population docile. It keeps wages suppressed because people are terrified to ask for a raise or demand better working conditions, lest they be seen as a liability rather than an asset. Furthermore, consider the geopolitical reaction. How does the rest of the world respond to being labeled third world and banned? This moves us faster towards a bifurcated world. The global south, rejected by the US, will have no choice but to consolidate around the BRICS nations and China. We are effectively pushing the majority of the world's population into the arms of Beijing. If you cannot trade with the US, and you cannot migrate to the US, you will build your own system. This ban might be the catalyst that finally ends the dominance of the US dollar, simply because we have told the rest of the world we do not want them here. So, where does this leave us? We are entering what I call the fortress era. The era of the melting pot is officially over, replaced by the era of the gated community. Donald Trump's gamble is massive. He is betting that the United States is strong enough to stand alone, self-sufficient, automated, and hermetically sealed. He is betting that security is more valuable than growth, and that cultural homogeneity is more important than global integration. He is betting that the American system can recover best in isolation. But history has a funny way of punishing isolationists. When you build a wall that is too high and too thick, you do not just keep the world out. You lock yourself in. You cut off the fresh air of ideas, of youth, and of energy that keeps a civilization alive. The question you need to ask yourself tonight isn't whether you agree with the ban politically. The question is much deeper. If the United States is no longer the land of opportunity for the world, if the beacon is turned off, what does it become? Does it become a sanctuary of peace and prosperity? Or does it become a bunker? And in a bunker, eventually, the air runs out. This is Libo News. We dig deeper because the surface is just a distraction. Subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. The world is changing faster than the ink can dry, and you need to be ready for what comes next.